Nice to see you, Sean. I'll start off with serious matters and Burnley in Tier 3 like most of the country. I guess that's not a surprise, is it?
No, not with the knowledge. I mean, there was talk of the general area surrounding us being 2, I believe, but the crossover of 3 with Burnley. So, look, the rules are the rules. It still applies that we want people safe and well. That's the first thing. We can only hope that things accelerate due to vaccination periods, etc., and how quickly they can get that out there. And people doing the right thing, which hopefully will keep the numbers low. And then I think it was the 16th, did they say they'll revisit? So we'll wait and see.
It means you might sort of have fans watching the game at Arsenal. Is that an advantage, or is it something you welcome because we're on the road to maybe something more promising?
Well, stadium that size has got 2,000 in. They ball boys, might just be ball people. Who knows nowadays? But no, look, joking apart, I said last week, if any fans getting into stadiums, it's a start. Hopefully a very positive start to what's to come next. Home or away, fans in the stadium I think is great. They've been waiting a long time. We've been waiting a long time for it. We totally understand why, of course, but I think it'll be a good thing for football.
And last 24 hours, the world almost came to a standstill because of the death of Diego Maradona. I was more sad about it than I thought I would be. How did you feel? What were your thoughts? Yeah,
look, legend. I was right in that kind of period when he was being the amazing talent, amazing player that he was. Like so many, I recently watched a documentary, and it was so amazing. What a brilliant piece of work that is. The truth, the authenticity of the documentary, and a sort of an interview somewhat of the life he was leading at that time. I mean, complete megastar. Imagine nowadays if you added in social media and that to what he was then, it would have been off the scale. But no, having seen him, as a young lad growing up and seeing the talent he had, absolutely amazing. Incredible to watch such a talent. Very fortunate actually to watch that talented player throughout his career, more or less. And such a sad moment rather that he's passed.
And I think powerful when we were growing up because it was kind of sporadic in what you could see of someone. It wasn't like 24/7 and seeing every game live. You actually hankered after seeing a World Cup and seeing someone like that.
Oh, absolutely. And then, I mean, when he was, he come onto these shores in Europe, I mean, you did see more of him. But no, like you say, the coverage then was nowhere near what it is now. And yet, his performance level and so many clips you see of some of the marvellous moments he delivered. There is one that wasn't so marvellous, it's fair to say. But generally speaking, I don't think people will remember that. I think they'll remember him for just some amazing moments, and amazing how he carried teams and changed the story of team seasons with his own skill and way he played, actually, not just his skill, because he could bring others in. He'd work for the team. I mean, an absolute top talent.
And the way things work, we tend to remember the people of our era being the greatest. Is that fair, or how do you reflect on where he is in a kind of draft?
No, I think there will be something of that. I mean, you can imagine people in 20 years' time, probably more, 20, 30 years' time, actually, talking about the likes of Messi, of course, Ronaldo, being the obvious two more latterly. Maybe the generation of now as children, when they grow up and they get to their 40s or so, will probably look back and think they're unbelievable talents, which they are, of course. I mean, top players. I just think, I don't know, it has a bit more nostalgia for me, some of these players. I mean, not just him, Platini and Zico and Adair and all these type of players at that stage. But I mean, he's probably the first, I suppose, a young footballer growing up, probably the first one you knew, your dad had told you stories, or my dad had told me stories of Pelé. Obviously, I never saw him play properly. And then along comes Maradona and you think, wow, look at this fella here, just making football look different, and the ease that he made it look with the talent that he had.
Well, close to home, first win on the board, and at the want of maybe giving a charity donation, a happy place, I imagine, the training ground this week.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's one of them things where I thought we were getting closer to what we expected from the team, performance-wise. I said all along, if you get that right, you increase your chance of a win. We got that win, that was good. Against a Crystal Palace side who were going well and doing a good job for themselves. And Overall, I thought we edged it. We often have to do that. I spoke very early season about the margins and getting on the right side, and we did on that occasion. And, we get a nice 3 points, and everyone sort of reminds themselves of what we do, or everyone in this camp reminds themselves of what we do. And when we do it, we're effective. And that's what we look to be in our games, is effective. That's the first thought port of call, sorry, I should say. Easy for me to say. Because if you get your effective football right, we think we can get points on the table like we've shown before.
And suddenly the table looks a very different place, doesn't it? With 3 points on the board, and you're looking up rather than down, aren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I've seen it look better in my time here, but you've got to get a start point, and I think it wasn't just that game. I think 3 clean sheets in the last 5 was a kind of feel of what we were trying to do. I mentioned before the game about creating. We're never blessed with making 25 odd chances, but we often carve out some very good ones, which we did, of course, against Palace. We didn't take them all, and another day hopefully we would. But that was a good sign, because I thought defensively we were solid. Obviously, Popey come into action twice and made one massive save, very important save. But other than that, I thought we defended well as creating some good chances.
And does the value of kind of 2 seasons ago, when you had a kind of slow start for different reasons because of Europe and lots of games, or does that give you the kind of ability to be more patient when you're not getting maybe the results the performances deserved?
I think it's patience in football is an interesting thing. It's maybe because of my years here, I get maybe a little bit more of there isn't a physical crowd at the moment, but maybe the crowd, the club are a bit more patient, because we have been through these times before. Every year's a big challenge. Everyone knows that. It's a restart, as I call it. So there's always an awareness that, we can have a tough spell in the season. It's just that this one has come at the very beginning, which is not ideal. But we're showing signs of coming through it. That's the main thing. It doesn't guarantee the next one, that's for sure, especially when you're playing someone with the prowess of Man City. But it definitely is a building block to move forward and get ourselves back to where we think we can be.
And when you look into the future, Rodriguez and Vidra signing up alongside some other guys who've signed on as well, the housekeeping's being done, and you are kind of solidifying in terms of contract status and players long-term rather than short-term.
Yeah, I mean, them 2 guys had options that we've taken up early. We thought that was important. The idea of as I said in the last window, when, if you can't activate outside of your group, then you've got to secure, make sure the players are all aligned and their noses pointing in the right direction inside of your group. And I think we're making strides with that. There's still other situations we've got to clear up, but we're open with our dialogue with the players and their agents, and we'd look to do that in due course.
Pep's just signed a new deal to stay here for at least another couple of seasons. Were you kind of the thought that give us a break, go somewhere else?
No, certainly not. I mean, I think he's been a fantastic addition to the Premier League, and what he brings with his thoughts and his team bring as well, of course, and his staff. I think I said last week, I think it was before the international. No, it was before last week, actually, about the idea that it's a different challenge for him. After his first season and last season, it's a different challenge, and fair play to him for looking at that, not being bothered by it. Doesn't seem like he would be to me. Still working on his side, a top side still. You see with the changes last night, still make changes, still a top side, no matter who they put out there. And I think that's kind of good for the division. I think it's good for him as well to take on these challenges. Because Liverpool were unbelievable last year. Man City were very good, I thought, actually. Just that Liverpool was so good, just ran away with it. See what they can do going forwards. But no, I mean, I think there's certainly. I think it's good to see that the Premier League is that sort of strong, that these managers are re-signing, are staying at clubs, and maybe stay on more than they probably or could do in other leagues around the world.
And I guess encouraging, although they might be shopping in different shops of players, that every manager faces the same challenge of kind of rehashing what they've got and going again.
Well, no, we shop in similar places, me and Pep, in the market, so that's fair to say. But no, look, at the end of the day, everyone's got a challenge. Theirs is to win things on a yearly basis, or certainly as many times as they can, which Pep showed many times that he can do that, and his side can do that. Ours is a different challenge. Ours is to constantly try and build on different kind of resource base, of course, and develop and try and, get a model that will work for the club whilst also being effective on the pitch and off the pitch. And it's been difficult, but that's the way it goes. That's what I'm here to manage. My group see beyond all that, I think my playing group, and just get on with it and take on whatever comes, as do I and as do my staff.
Just personnel-wise, Robbie Brady and Dale Stevens, any chance of being involved, or even Jack Cork? I guess Jack not.
No, Jack's making good progress, but it's not there yet. Robbie is unlikely to figure, as is Dale. Popey, unfortunately, won't play at this stage. We're waiting on some clearance, so there's a chance because of the knock that he received to his head. So he's kind of more touch and go, but I might have to make a call on that along with the doctor and stuff. So we'll wait on that one.
Fantastic. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, James. Jonathan over at BLP next. Afternoon, Jonathan.
Thank you. Afternoon, Sean. Nice reference to Ada earlier. Enjoyed that. What a player he was. By the by. Look, when you prepare to face City, and you analyse in the way that you will do you spot any relative weaknesses now compared to previous seasons?
Not many, if any. I think that last season had some injuries, which was in a strange kind of way. It was only not good for the injuries, quite obviously, but just to see that even players and teams at that level, injuries can affect their working unit, and I think they did at times because they missed some really, really big players for them. They have got some really good players who fill their slots. Don't get me wrong. No, I still think they're a proper outfit. As I said, I think it was more the prowess of Liverpool, and I would never take any credit away from Liverpool because they were just fantastic last season, an absolute machine over a season's work. And I never thought for 1 minute that Man City were bad or anything or off where they needed to be. They just couldn't quite go the course as Liverpool did. So still a top side, still operating in a very, very good manner. They all know their roles and responsibilities, both in possession and out of possession, by the way. And people forget about the work that they do and the shape that they keep when they're out of possession. So it's always a tough task playing these sides. We know that. On the other hand, we go open-minded, as we do. Every game's there to be won, or you've got a chance of winning. So that's always been the way we've worked.
And even though you have had some, reasonably heavy defeats there in the last couple of seasons, does that dampen your relish for the challenge at all?
No, not at all. It's the reality of this division. It's very difficult. You catch any of the top sides, any side, by the way, but any of the top sides when they're really on their day, which they have been a couple of times against us, and they're capable of dismantling you. You need to play well. You need to work well from your shape. You need some decisions, possibly. You need them to maybe have a quiet day. That's just the way it goes. That's life in the Premier League when you're us. So that's something we're used to, but we've never feared it. We never look away from the challenge of it. We take it on. Sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't.
And this run of fixtures before Christmas, Sean, what's achievable? Small targets?
Don't worry about that. The small targets have always been the same. The next game's the most important one. We've had a good mindset from that for a long time. The only time we ever had a different challenge was the Europa season when the games were just coming all over the place, and we had to somewhat guard against injuries at that time and form, etc., etc. But when we've got a team or a squad that's coming back to full fitness now, it's not quite there yet. When it does, then our focus has always been clear, and that's the next game's the most important one.
Thanks, Sean. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Hello, Clarets fans. Phil Bird here. Make sure you subscribe to Burnley's official YouTube channel and turn on notifications. Otherwise, you might miss moments like this. Oh, what a goal! And Wood was there to finish it.
You're spitting Glenn Little, look at us.
We hope you enjoyed the video, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Up the Clarets.